All right, welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to talk about Cleanspark, stock ticker CLSK. They're a Bitcoin mining company. They put out their monthly operational report, but what I really want to talk about is they put out their quarterly financial report. There's a massive amount of information in that. There's some game-changing stuff going on for them this quarter. So I'm going to start out here looking at Cleanspark. We're in the middle of the trading day today, so it's trading at around $6.48. Cleanspark did have a pretty good week versus the other Bitcoin miners last week, but it still was down. Just so you know, they're closer to $1 billion market cap right now. So I'll show you exactly where they're at. And again, we'll look at a market cap chart that it puts that in perspective versus the other Bitcoin miners. So we'll get to that later. That is a separate video that I did last week. So very quickly, if you enjoy this content and you have not yet, please subscribe to the channel. It really does help the channel a lot. Also, you can smash the like button and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified every time I make a video. This was their press release for the month of July. They doubled their hodl position from just around 500 and change to over 1,000. This is a shift we're going to talk more about. They are moving into hodling, going into the halving. And the other thing worth noting is they mined 575 Bitcoin. So I'm going to show you where that ranks versus all the other Bitcoin miners. That puts them in second place for the month of July. You'll see below in parentheses, there's a number 2 here. That's last month's ranking, so they were second place as well in the month of June. So they are starting to consistently be second place among all the Bitcoin miners. They are one of the top 2 or 3 performers in this space. They have established themselves, in my mind, pretty much every way that you look at this. One last thing I want to look at for the month of June, then we're going to talk about the quarter. This is efficiency. So there was a 4-way tie for first place at 76 Bitcoin per exahash. And you're going to see Cleanspark is one of those 4 companies. All the new exahash they have coming online, and it's a substantial amount, are the latest and greatest Bitcoin miner, the ASIC, the XPs. That's going to increase their energy efficiency. This is operational efficiency. So to me, a lot of good things happening here. Okay, let's get on to their quarterly report. Okay, Cleanspark reports third quarter 2022 financial results, announces 16 exahash expansion is fully funded. So this was one of the most important things that they told us on the conference call, and you'll see here they have fully funded not only the machines, but also all of the infrastructure to get from here to the 16 exahash by the end of the year. So they have done an awful lot of dilution. We're going to look at their dilution. I know everybody has very strong feelings about this in different directions. I think their dilution was important. It got them basically from 6 to where they're going to be at 16 exahash. So we'll go through those numbers in a minute. Right now, I want to go through their financial statements, take a look at a bunch of things that I think are important. They had $21 million in cash. They had $13.9 million in Bitcoin. Now, we know they have over 1,000 Bitcoin as of today. So that's more than double the amount of Bitcoin that they're showing on the balance sheet here. They actually have more cash right now as well, so they've improved all of those positions. But you'll see even here, they have $52 million of current assets against $37 million of current liabilities. So they're in very good shape from a current ratio standpoint. In addition to that, their loans payable are only $10.7 million, so almost no debt at all. Their total liabilities are only $49 million versus $52 million of current assets. So this is a very strong company financially speaking. So strong balance sheet. I like to see that. That is important. Okay, if we go to their financial statements, Bitcoin mining revenue was $45 million. Here's their cost of revenue excluding depreciation and amortization, because those are non-cash costs. So that's $20.6 million. Basically, that means they had about $25 million in gross profit. This is the most crucial thing for these Bitcoin miners, and this is why it's important for them to scale up. It is with this gross profit that they can pay for all their overhead and potential future growth. So if you look at their net income, if we go down here, you're going to see they lost about $15 million on the quarter, measured in GAAP, generally accepted accounting principles. However, they had about $22 million in depreciation, which means even net of all their expenses, if you take out their non-cash costs, this company was still cash flow positive about $7 million. There's 3 things I'd like to see these companies do, and 2 of these I'd like to see them do before the halving. They're cash flow positive. They have $25 million of gross profit and cash flow of about $7 million, even after all of their operating expenses. They also have positive EBITDA of $13.3 million. So those 2 things are 2 critical critical goals, and they have reached both of those goals, and those numbers are improving quarter over quarter. Last goal is for them to have positive GAAP earnings, so that is yet to come, but I expect that to come over the next couple of quarters. I think before the end of this year, as long as Bitcoin stays reasonably healthy. Okay, now, so let's get this out of the way. They did do a massive amount of dilution over the last few years, so I want to show you these numbers. It's important to talk about them. You guys can decide what you think this means. I know there's some people that think this was too much dilution. I think this is what it took. I think all of this dilution was accretive. That's, kind of a buzzword, but it really is important. And essentially, that means that what they did with the proceeds from this dilution was grow their company. So the amount they increased the value of their company, to me, greatly exceeded the amount of dilution that they had to do in order to get there. So at December 31st of 2022, they were at 71.7 million shares outstanding. If we roll all the way forward to June 30th, so that's 6 months later, they're now at 131 million shares outstanding. If you go into subsequent events, you're going to see that from July 1st through August 8th, which was when they issued this report, the company issued another 20 million shares of stock. So between all of this, when they say that they're fully funded to get to 16 exahash, and that includes infrastructure and the machines required to get there, this is how they got there. So we need to add this to the 131 million shares. So you're going to see they have about 151 or 152 million shares outstanding. That is now starting to be in line with their direct competition. So I think that's a healthy number. And in doing so, they've gone basically from 6 exahash to, by the end of this year, they're looking to get to 16 exahash. So that is gigantic, gigantic growth. So that's essentially the story of their share dilution. I'll leave it to you guys to decide whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it needs to be talked about. So that's what happened. In Q3, they mined 1,624 Bitcoin. That was a little bit less than Q2. That was their all-time record so far to date. They went sideways a little bit in exahash for a 3-month period. I think next quarter they will beat their all-time record, and I think they will continue to grow from there. Obviously, after the halving, the numbers will change, but from here to the halving, I do think they will break their all-time record each quarter going forward. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, this is not financial advice. We're going to have to wait and see if they execute their plan, but this is what my expectation is. Okay, here's one of the most important things out of everything in my opinion. This is cost per coin. So again, this is another thing that we can only determine when they put out their quarterly financial statements. A lot of companies report their energy costs on a monthly basis, but energy, while it's a majority of their cost, it's not 100% of their direct cash costs. So this is the all-in cost per coin. 2 quarters ago, they were at about $13.3 thousand per coin. Last quarter, they got down to $11.8 thousand per coin, and this quarter, they're at about $12.7 thousand per coin. So very consistent over a 3-quarter period. That's 9 months. In this same period of time, the global hash rate and therefore the difficulty level went up dramatically. So it is impressive that they were able to keep their cost per coin relatively even in that period of time. Okay, so when we compare $12,700 cost per coin, let's take a look at what their revenue per coin was. Just under $28,000. So that leaves about $15,000 of gross profit per coin. Bitcoin has had a good year. So Q1, which was the period ended December 31st, 2022, Bitcoin averaged $18,000 in that quarter. That was the low for this cycle. Last quarter, that bounced up to $22,700 per coin. So to me, all these were good numbers. Okay, if I compare these companies by market cap, and I just updated this through Friday, and I did include their additional shares. So this is adjusted for the financial statements that came out. You're going to see CleanSpark is the 4th largest company by market cap. Riot's at $2.7 billion. So that's very close to 3 times the market cap of CleanSpark. Marathon's at $2.5 billion, just under 2.6. Bitdeer's at $1.4 billion. And then you've got CleanSpark in 4th place. As of Friday, it was $991 million. It's down a few bucks since CleanSpark is trading down on the day today. But you'll see somewhere around $1 billion. And you'll see Cypher is a little bit less than that, just in the same neighborhood. So I do think this is very proportional. I think if you look at this compared to their 2 direct competitors, which in my opinion are Riot and Marathon, you're going to see that even with all that stock dilution, CleanSpark still remains a much, much smaller market cap company. Therefore, I think there's room for them to grow. Very quickly, we'll take a look at CleanSpark's chart on the 1-day time frame. So you're going to see they're a little bit in the red today. At the moment, they're down less than 1%, but CleanSpark peaked on July 17th, so just about 1 month ago, and it got up to about $7.60. So currently it's trading at $6.47. So there's still a lot of room just for CleanSpark to get back to where it was just less than 1 month ago. Let's say Bitcoin can stay healthy and maybe make a little bit of a run up towards maybe $35,000. If that happens, I do think CleanSpark would be due for another jump in their stock price. This green line goes all the way back to August of 2022. In August of 2022, Bitcoin was trading at $25,000, so we're already $4,000 or $5,000 higher than that right now. CleanSpark was only about a 2 exahash company. Right now, they're 9 exahash on their way to 16 exahash. So yes, they have done a lot of stock dilution, so we got to balance both of those things out. But I think there's a lot of room for growth in this company. It's my opinion they should be a much higher stock price than they were last August. This is a much bigger, better, stronger, healthier company. So if I zoom out again, I'm just going to give one longer-term price target. So to me, this is possibly a price target before the halving occurs. This is where CleanSpark was trading in March of 2022. So they were at about $14. So that's over a double. That would be a 113% increase in the price of their stock. I do think Bitcoin would have to get healthy and make a run maybe at $40,000 or $45,000, and CleanSpark would have to execute their plan and get to their 16 exahash while continuing their efficiency. They're among the most efficient Bitcoin miners, so if they can continue that trend, if they can execute their plan, and if Bitcoin can have a decent run up between now and the halving, I do think there's a potential double here. So obviously, there's always risk and reward to this. It would be a 72% move to the downside if they were to somehow revisit their lows from December. Now, that would probably mean a Bitcoin crash because that's when Bitcoin was at really its 5-year low. So I'm not expecting that, but you never know. I like to look at the risk and the reward. So that's where CleanSpark is. I thought these results were great. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. So if you made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel. It really does help a lot. It's much appreciated. And you can also smash the like button and hit the notification bell. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.